Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Brett's vlogs. And he switched his order a little bit this weekend. He ended up benching. He ended up benching with while being dehydrated, not getting enough food in. He didn't. He was pretty much fasted when he benched, and I don't know why that ended up happening, but it was just the time frame that he dealt with. He was really busy and he wanted to get his workout in, so it didn't go as well as we'd like. But he still got 250 for 6, on his close grip bench. The other accessory work went well, and then he felt it was getting a lot of DOMs through the week, so he did his squat day, then his deadlift. So things were kind of out of order. Normally we want squat, then bench press, and deadlift, and a couple days off. It's usually how we want to work this system when we're doing the 3-day orc mode type training. But what we do for his benching, as you guys can see from the sheet, we do, because again, he prefers close grip bench for his shoulders. He's never been comfortable wide grip. I might make him change that one day. But, he benches over 315 plus close grip. So, it's fine. We'll leave it. Because again, he cares more about his deadlift and squat anyways. But, he's still got a respectable bench. So we need to continue to bring that up. We just keep building his triceps and everything up, and he'll be fine. So we ramp up to his heavy peak set, and he got, 6 reps today. His squat and deadlift were on fire this week in spite of DOM. So then we do, 5 by 10 at 50% training max. Then I have him do pull-ups. Now I have him doing dips, and then he does band press downs. So again, there's a little more calisthenics type stuff in his programming because we do dips, we do pull-ups, we do glute ham raises. But again, we have a heavy tricep focus for him, and it's because he prefers benching close grip, so we work hard on overdeveloping his triceps. And he still has pecs, obviously, you guys can see even through the shirt. He still has chest development, because close grip does build those things, all right? Then, having him do just like 3 sets of body weight dips, all right? And when we go over to take him to the heavier orc mode later, we may take this up to 5. So that we get 10 or 11 work sets, for the chest and front delts and everything. So, but he found these really fatiguing this week, apparently. Again, because he pretty much walked in and trained without having time to eat or drink enough on his bench day. Pull-ups went pretty good, though. So, again, you guys notice I love for my advanced lifters wide grip pull-ups. And I get that people are like, how come some of your lifters do them, some of them don't? Some of them do row variations. All right, here's what it comes down to. They need to be advanced enough to crank out a decent number of reps on pull-ups. Okay, if you can't do 10 body weight pull-ups, it's not going to work for our purposes, right? Number 1. Number 2, my lifters who focus on the pull-ups have higher deadlift volume. In other words, I will push a little more rowing for people who aren't doing this sort of deadlift volume, right? Where they're doing back off work of 10s on deadlift day, because the difference is a lot of the differences you get from rowing versus pull-ups could be arguably a little more upper back and traps, a little bit more, but we get that from deadlifting. And the pull-ups are a superior lat exercise or a phenomenal grip training tool. I like pull-ups as an all-around builder, and it's what I've told a lot of you guys out there. Quite frankly, if most of you just focused on the squat, bench, and deadlift and pull-ups, and then just fill in the gaps as needed with accessory work, you would be jacked and strong. You would reach your potential. And I really do believe that. And the longer I coach, the longer I look at data, the longer I talk to lots of elite lifters, the more I'm convinced that, that's really all we have to do. Have a squat, bench, deadlift day every week. Put a good focus, get good at pull-ups to kind of balance all that out, because that kind of fills in most of the gaps you need. And then just train your weak links, right? If your triceps are weak, train your triceps. If your delts are weak, train your delts. If your hamstrings are weak, train your hamstrings, so on and so forth. Pick supplemental work that complements these big lifts and fills in the gaps where you need it from hypertrophy. So in Brett's case, what do you see for a lot of supplemental work? A lot of triceps. A lot of lower body stuff, right? We do belt squats, do glute ham raises. So you'll notice on his squat day, it's pretty much what we do. And he got, I think, 300 for 10 on this best set. So squats coming up. because that would be 85% of his training max. So his squat is coming along. I mean, we'll keep getting it higher. I'll have his squat eventually to 500 pounds. It will happen, because when a guy is deadlifted 600 plus, we can get his squat to 500. We just got to bring his legs up, right? He tends to have weak adductors. It has actually been historically a problem. He's pulled adductors several times. He tends to have weaker hamstrings. Even though he's a great deadlifter, it has to do with his personal leverages, having strong glutes, everything else. But, again, getting his adductors and stuff bigger. It's why we do all this wide stance work. That's why I have him do the wide stance belt squats afterwards, which you guys will see. So, but again, like I said, that squat is coming up. I already know he can squat over 400 again now, so we've got him there, and we want to keep driving that up. But, it's a fair amount of leg volume involved in doing that. And his goal is, of course, to eventually get to a 700 deadlift. Before he detrained, which I explained at the start of this, we had him at around 630 on his deadlift, and he was making progress, and then he spent several months without training. Again, life circumstances, some stuff came up, which has now been resolved, and it not going to get into his personal life, but he didn't even have access to his own gym. He was out of town for months and had to work on the road. And again, he kind of lost his motivation, and then when he got home, it's like, I've got to fix this. Let's get back on Team Blaha. Let's vlog. Let's join this vlogging thing he's doing and get these results. So you guys notice on the belt squats, because again, he's someone who struggles with a lot of weak adductors, and I cannot stress how important the adductor is for the squat. Notice we do a real wide stance, toes out, like he's out there wide, and he goes deep. Right, this is to maximize the hypertrophy, because we're not just training quads. We need adductors and glutes. That wider stance gets more adductor. That deep stance, going deep like that, works the glutes. And of course, I have him do glute ham raises. And I've been experimenting with some of my people if I want their posterior chain work like this on squat day or deadlift day. I personally prefer it on deadlift day for me. And some of these lifters, I may rotate it around. And that way we can just focus on things like the squat muscles and, and back. And then maybe deadlift days we can really hammer the posterior chain. But as of right now, I've been doing a lot of it, counting their hamstring work and stuff as regular lower body on a squat day, and then having them do extra back or bicep work on deadlift day. Now, he was fatigued when he got this. He was surprised that he's like, I couldn't believe I got 450 for 10 because I was still hurting from squat day. He had DOMs this week, and that shouldn't be happening, but it's been happening. It has to do with the amount of conditioning work he's doing, his lifestyle, everything else. That's why we're running the minimum volumes he needs to keep making progress. And I think we could make the case for that. And a lot of people don't want to hear that because they're like, oh, I want to use maximum recoverable volume. Really? I think once you're out of the novice phase, we should be looking at what's the minimum amount of work that I need to make good progress. Okay, because you're going to overreach less, you're going to have lower overuse injuries, and you're going to keep making continual progress. And I think that's the intelligent way to go. Instead of saying, hey, how can I milk out every last drop of gains this month? It's like, well, what if you only get 90% of those gains, but you're not as beat up? You're not getting the same overuse. You're going to be more consistent in the long term. I think it really is the way to go. We should be training really at minimum effective volume. Most of the time. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.